am on the section of Cannaregio, at the northern section. Just above me is the northern lagoon and the cemetery island and Murano just past that, to give you a sense of where I am. Just behind me is the Palazzo Contarini dal Zaffo, and I'll tell you the story of how this connects to Casanova in an episode of Quattro, Minuti con Casanova. So in this location, it relates, it's kind of the second part to the story of what happened at the church of Santa Maria Mater Domini. Make sure I got that right. Yeah, Domini. So there I told the story of how Casanova met in the church with Signora Giovanna Marchetti, because Casanova had seen her daughter, he never names her, but he had seen her daughter at a chemist's shop and thought she was beautiful, and cooked up this idea to have kind of an affair with the young woman. It's a complicated story, I tell the whole thing in the other episode, but the way that story ended was Casanova felt like the mother and daughter were sort of trying to trap him into marriage. Now, you know, he was trying to use her for an affair, so it kind of went both ways. But in any case, Casanova was able to get out of any marriage contract or any obligation to the young woman, and kind of get off scot-free. You know, he had his brief affair and he walked away from it, and the young woman, you know, sort of lost some of her virtue, and her uncle that she was living with lost all his furniture. So I know now you really want to know the other story, so you should watch the other episode. Anyways, about 3 months after all of that stuff ended, Casanova was summoned to here, this place, and it was the place where, let me get the right name, the State Inquisitor Zorzi, Zorzi Contarini dal Zaffo, was the state inquisitor living in this palazzo, and he summoned Casanova to him. And at first Casanova was afraid because he was summoned by a state inquisition, you know, but he knew he was being summoned to this palace, not to the main, you know, government buildings down in San Marco. So he wasn't too worried, and he thought maybe it would go okay. And the state inquisitor Zaffo said, "Oh, I've heard about this affair with the Marchetti girl. Tell me what happened." Casanova kind of told his version of the story. And then Casanova said, "Look, I couldn't marry the girl because I have no real income. And, you know, to marry you have to have an income. And, you know, I hope to someday have an income because my sort of protector is Senator Bragadin," which was true. And so Dal Zaffo let Casanova off and said, "Oh, okay, well then you're all good, bye." And so the Marchetti mother and daughter were just sort of left hanging and really had no redress. You know, at that time they could have been kind of a serious charge of fornication. So it's interesting, it was considered fornication, which was a crime, if people had sex outside of marriage and they weren't planning to marry. If they were planning to marry, you know, and maybe were doing bands with the church and had a date set or whatever, and they had sex, it was okay because the marriage plan was there. So Casanova claimed that that's what happened. It wasn't actually criminal fornication, and he convinced this guy, the state inquisitor, Contarini dal Zaffo, sorry. And yeah, once again, Casanova was able to walk away from it unharmed, and with another story to tell, which he tells in his memoir. So you can read the whole thing there too. All right, thanks for joining me for another episode. Bye.